Good morning.
Morning, guys. How's it going?
Going wonderful. Good.
Wonderful.
Well, this morning Josie and I have with us Jessica Sibla. Jessica, do you prefer Jessica or Jess? I call you
I,
both.
I go by Jess all the time, but it doesn't bother me.
Okay, perfect. Well, Jessica owns Healing with Jess, so we're going to call her Jess this morning. And Jess is coming. Jess is in Bismarck, and Josie and I are in Santan Valley, Arizona. So how exciting again to be chatting from two different locations.
For sure. I love that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Good morning. Tell us about Healing with Jess.
So I started my business about 8-ish years ago. It kind of truly just fell into my lap. I wasn't looking for this as a business someday. I have actually my bachelor's in social work. So I always did want to help people in some sort of realm of healing, therapy, things like that. But I was on my own journey. It's been 14 years now that been on my own journey. And it just worked so well for me. And it felt like other people were seeing the differences in me. Like I was smiling more, I was happier, I didn't have the weight on my shoulders as like I used to walk around with. And when people noticed that, I realized very quickly this is something that I can share. And when I started sharing it, people really were engaging in it and they loved it. And so it's just kind of nice to have my own background in it so I can really relate to people when they come to me. So that's kind of why I got into my business. It truly just fell into my lap. But I was just telling my mom the other day, like, I can literally not see myself doing anything else. Like, there's nothing in this world that I'd rather do than what I do. So it's pretty amazing.
So when you say it, what is it?
Like, what do I do in my business?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a very wide range of holistic techniques, whether that would be, I do a lot of chakra clearing. So when people come in here, I can see their chakras, see kind of what color they are, if they're blocked, and we just talk about stuff. I do like a lot of talk therapy in the sessions, but when we talk about stuff, it helps our energy break up. And that way it's way easier to clear it. If you kind of go into clearing things and you don't voice, it's a little trickier. So I like to get my people talking about traumas, what they're going through in their life, the stress of everyday life. And there's always so much more going on beyond talking. I am in constant like visual of clearing them and bringing in the light and getting connected to God or higher power, whatever the belief system is. But a spiritual coach, people that's what I'm like trained in. That's my certification. And spiritual coaching, people often ask, like, what is that? And I always tell people, spiritual coaching is just allowing you to get connected to spirit, whatever that means to you. If that means like your higher self and just wanting connecting to you, your belief system and connection to that, connection to our spirit guides, whatever connection you're searching for, that's kind of what I can help coach with.
When you say see chakras, I'm sorry. Do you have a thought? No. When you say see chakras, explain that to people who are like, what is she talking about? What does she see?
So my first ever like meditation class that I was in almost 15 years ago now, I didn't know going into it what the theme was, but it was in Fargo, this lady, and I drove, my mom and I drove up there, and it was a chakra meditation, and I had no idea what they were going into that. It was my very first like interaction with them. And I sat in this room around this, with people in a circle, and she like went through the chakras, which are just energy centers in the body. And there's a lot of information on chakras, and it's all beautiful information. They're really widely known in other countries and stuff, but basically they're just energy centers in our body that we hold stress, things that happen in our past, maybe past life stuff, whatever we're holding on to, they can get stuck in these centers. And so I'm a very visual person. So like in a meditation, I close my eyes, and it was natural for me to see chakras. I just saw these really beautiful orbs that were surrounding like the midline of my body. And as I was seeing them, she was like, okay, now bring a red color to the root chakra. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, red. Okay. And I pulled it in. So seeing is really like, it's just always been easy for me. I'm always a seer, but obviously we don't see energy with our, physical eyes. We can eventually, have to get really good at that, but we see energy with our mind's eye. It's basically just kind of our inner knowing that sits right here. It's called the third eye chakra. So a lot of times in session, I'll close my eyes and be talking to my person. I'll get so many visuals of that. So I don't know if that answers your question about chakras, but that's kind of how I see them. I actually see like the colors of them.
So you're a seer. From what I understand, there's a lot of different, I think it's clairvoyance,
Yes.
or, all the different kinds. Do you
Yep.
know a lot about those?
Yeah, so every sense that we have here in this like physical realm, we have spiritually. So we can smell spirit, we can see spirit, we can touch, we can feel all the things that we have here in this physical realm. We do have spiritually too. And a lot of times my clients will be really good at one. And then we can like kind of get confident and trust that and then really work on the other. So I've always been a seer and a feeler. And so those are my two that I really like to use in sessions, but I love to challenge myself with a sense of smell, and been kind of getting good at like smelling my grandpa when he comes through. And so yes, we have all those senses that we have here, we can have spiritually, but some people are really good at certain ones, and that's kind of cool to see people.
I think this is super important for like being in tune with yourself, right? Or
Yes.
like learning who you are and how,
Yep.
what feels good to you. So someone who's completely like, this is brand new for them, like what would be like an easy way to start like noticing?
Sure. Like if they want to like sense some things.
Yeah. Like, how can I start to just honestly trust myself again? And
yeah, it takes a
using your
lot
inner
of
knowing to do so.
patience. It takes a lot of patience, which we're not very good at, right? We want everything so fast paced. So it takes a lot of patience, but just quiet time. I always think back on my grandparents, right? Like when they didn't have the cell phones and they hardly had any TV, they just spent so much time in quiet. And I feel like they were so much more connected to like themselves and each other, just because in quiet time, we spend so much time connecting. And so whenever people want to start either meditation or connecting to themselves or their spirit guides or whatever, my first go-to is telling them get comfortable with being in a quiet space, which a lot of us aren't comfortable with. I remember when I first started, I would specifically choose meditations that like pause for quite a few minutes in the middle. And everyone, when I taught, everyone around me would get kind of like, I could tell people would get stir crazy. Like, when's this going to end? When are they going to tell me what to do again? And that's just, we need to get comfortable with that quiet space, because that's where a lot of that connection happens. So that's usually the first step that I tell people.
Great. I started with like, well, that too, probably being quiet, but like the yes, no, like not asking like this big, like needing a full paragraph type of answer, but like, do I want to eat this? Yes or no? Like
simplicity
just really
with it. Yeah.
making it very simple, the questions.
Absolutely.
You're good at that.
Yeah, but when you talk, I think everyone has sort of, I think you mentioned it, or both one of you, where people are usually good at one of those senses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good at the feeling part, where I will stop and say, do I want this or whatever. But how do you offer, I know you have one-on-one sessions with people. How do you do classes too? Do you offer things like that to help people find their way through some of these things?
Yeah, I think I love my one-on-ones. I will always do one-on-ones. I get, so much, I think a lot can really go deep in one-on-ones, but my passion is teaching people. I love to teach people how to get their own intuition going, how to trust themselves. So yes, I do a lot of classes. I usually do at least one intuition class a year, usually in the spring, and then just like different meditation classes throughout the year. And in my meditation classes, I always try to pick a theme, like either chakras or spirit guides or something, and then challenge people to really get their own energy with that. So I love holding classes and teaching. There's a beautiful energy that always comes when you hold a group. Everyone has this like really cool connection with each other. And when you can sit across from someone that you've never met before, but like understand them, you just really like people get so comfortable and they can be themselves. And I love that piece of teaching classes. So yes, I'm always up for teaching classes or having, private groups. I did a bachelorette party one time. This girl, one of my clients, was at a wedding, and she wanted me to do like a reading for them for a bachelorette party. And that was super fun. So always willing to do like group activity to teach people things too. Yeah.
When did you realize you had a gift?
Oh boy, since I can remember. I actually remember being probably 5 or 6 years old, and walking home from school and having the thought, why do I see life through a different lens? Like, why aren't people talking about what I'm seeing? And it was all really beautiful. It was like lights and angels and happy things and glitter. Like, it was really like positive, really beautiful things. But when I was 10 years old, huge spiritual awakening, didn't know at the time because I was really young, but my grandpa passed, and he was just like my best friend, man. He's a World War II vet. He was actually in the front lines of D-Day. So he stormed the beaches of Normandy and stabbed multiple times there. He was actually pretty close to not making it. He was laying under dead bodies to survive. Someone found him and patched him up, and he kept going with the war, came back here and had a family. But him and I were just really connected. I remember knowing so much about my grandpa, like so much, and this vivid, like I almost saw things through his point of view. And it was normal for me. But then I started seeing like, wait a minute, grandpa, he doesn't conversate with me. We had a ton of quiet time. And so we would go for ice cream, we'd go check crops, we'd go for drives. And I remember him saying like my name and calling my nicknames and stuff, but it was never these full conversations to where I would know like these things about my grandpa from him saying it. So I look back on that time, and I know without a doubt him and I really shared a special bond, and we spiritually shared things, and I probably did with him too, and that's why he was always there for me. But when he passed, I said to my mom, grandpa's my guardian angel, he'll never leave me. And I didn't know what that meant or why I said that, but 10 years later when I got into meditation, I needed him so much, because it was kind of a dark space for me. I lost myself, I wasn't around good people. And when I got into meditation, I just remember him being there. And it was just a very natural thing for me to be like, oh, there's grandpa. And in those 5 years of my first start of my journey, I actually remember a lot of times where I just felt him like pushing me over here or taking me, wanting me to go over here, and almost like laying stepping stones down for my life. And so it's very important to me to connect to my guides, because I know that without that connection, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And so a lot of them is theirs. And I don't think people understand how often they do that for us, how many doors they open for us, how many stepping stones they lay in front of us. We do have the gift of free will, but they're always there trying to get us to be where we need to be. And so when you ask when this started for me, it's been a part of me since I can remember. But I am a firm believer that most children are gifted. I think we all come from there. You know, we come from heaven. And I think we're all gifted. It's just we turn it off a lot here. So yeah, ever since I can remember, kind of.
Did you feel lonely in that?
Always.
Also seeing the glitter, you know?
Oh, so long. That's where my anxiety really came from, because 8, 9, 10 years old, and I just had wild thoughts like, I'm not going to amount to anything, or I don't know what my purpose is. And at like 8, 9, 10 years old, that's something you shouldn't really think of. But those were my thoughts at a really young age. And who can I really talk to about that, you know? So it was a very lonely, but I had friends. I had tons of friends. High school was awesome. I was good in sports. I was, straight A student, had lots of friends. It's just always very lonely because I couldn't talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't talk about it because you didn't know how to verbalize it, or because you didn't trust that people were going to receive it?
Probably I didn't know how to verbalize or what even was going on, because my mom and sister were still best friends to this day. And they were, they didn't really know what was going on either, but my mom and sister are both very intuitive and they'd get it. So, I think if I knew what was going on or knew where my anxiety was coming from, I could have opened up to those two people in my life, but I didn't really have the vocab or, that. And that's why I love when people come to me in one-on-ones and they have kids, that are any age really, and I can tell that they're spiritually connected. I like to tell their mom or dad that are in here, like, just listen to them and help them through this. And a lot of times people come to me as an adult to get on a journey, probably because in some sort of way it's a purpose of them to get their child on a journey too, which is really cool.
Yeah. And you're a mom, right?
Yeah. Yes. I have 2 amazing boys. One's 4.5 and one's almost 2. And it's been so fun. And they're both little empaths. And it's been really, I see a lot of myself in my oldest, especially. And I get him, when he says, oh, I this or that. And I'm like, I get it, buddy, and I think that kids get so scared of it, because they just think, the unknown is scary. But when you can sit down and say, oh, it's probably one of your guides, then they don't have a fear. And I think that's really beautiful. And my mom actually, a really cool story. She always prays for my kids at night, especially for Archangel Michael to come and protect them. And one day my son came to me in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 o'clock. And he said, I had a dream. And I said, what was your dream about? And he said, I saw this really blue color. And I felt, I couldn't see it, but I felt it. And it was just really cool. And Archangel Michael is a blue, color, aura. And so I think he saw that. I think he saw my mom pray for him. And I think that's really beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
super sweet.
Yeah.
How do you combat, when I mention to people that I have energy work done, I receive different, some people are curious, some people, embrace it, and some people immediately are opposed to it.
Yeah.
And, I don't defend or whatever what I do to anybody, but I do try to explain to them my feelings on it, which are that it's a spiritual gift that you have, and those gifts are biblical. And what would be your response to somebody who says that it's demonic?
Right.
Or because I hear that
Yeah.
from people, like, I would never do that because it's witchcraft or it's demonic or things like that.
Right. It used to bother me a lot because my faith is so important to me. I'm a high believer of God, higher power, wholeheartedly believe that. And it did used to really bother me when they're like, you're doing Satan's work. And I would get like little texts here and there on my business page. And, but it just doesn't bother me anymore because I'm strong in my faith, and I trust that, I always tell people if it feels good, then it's not bad. It can't be bad if it feels good. And I just take fear away from it. So when people come in here and they're a little scared of it, maybe I won't tap into their guides right away. Maybe I'll just do an energy clearing and let them open up that way. I don't push it. But yeah, it used to bother me a lot more than what it does. But then I look back on my 8 years of this business and I'm like, you know what? If I have 5 people that approach me that say I'm doing devil's work, but hundreds of people I can help get connected to God, then that's why I care about that, But yeah, it's just the unknown that scare people. And some people that do what I do probably do some dark work and some dark magic because it's probably out there, but it's just not something I vibrate with or will ever do. So I just kind of let people have their own, and I pray for them. When they say that to me, I always send them a prayer and I say, I hope you can find the light, because if you're that scared of this, then something's going on. So yeah.
That's a great response.
Yeah.
No kidding. Kind of a great response for anything in life is to pray for, pray for whatever darkness that there is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what do you do to keep your vibe high, to stay healthy, to stay,
I
it takes a lot of energy to do what you do.
For sure. And I used to not be able to see as many people as I see now. Like I can see like 5 or 6 people a day, which is a good number for me. But I used to like 3 or 4 and I was tapped out. But I think I just when you choose happiness, you're given extra energy because happiness is just such a positive vibration. So a lot of times lately in the last few years of my life, I just choose happiness. I don't choose to look at the negative things. And I mean, we're human, so I do sometimes, right? But majority of the time, I just really try to stay positive with my personal things. And I meditate every morning before I come to work here. Come to my office, get kind of comfortable, do a 5 to 10 to 15-minute meditation, and just get super grounded. And I think when you're grounded, some of the energy that I do get kind of just bounces off of me instead of it, comes into my space. But I do a lot of I love to read, and I used to obviously read self-help books or spiritual books, and I still do sometimes, but I go more into fantasy or thrillers. That way I just get an opportunity to get out of my life for a little bit and out of the healing world and into someone else's, kind of fun world. So I do a lot of reading to kind of help me stay sane too. But it does take a toll on you, and you need to give yourself breaks. I think once a month I try to schedule myself a full day off when my kids are in daycare and school, because I have Fridays off with my boys, and I love my Fridays with my boys. But you don't get a lot of you time either then. So I schedule myself 1 day a month off completely, and that really helps too.
Good. Well, and I think you're good at getting away a little bit too.
Yeah.
I've seen that you've taken some time with your sister or with your husband and children just to get away a little bit.
Yeah, we're really busy, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Because when, don't get me wrong, a stagnant day just to stay home in my pajamas all day is amazing. But I always used to think I needed more of that. But when I give myself more of that, I get really antsy. So keeping myself busy is like the best thing.
You've been traveling a bit, right? Like I've seen
Yes.
pictures. Yeah. So tell us about your travels.
We actually went to Mexico at the beginning of this year. I think it was in March for a friend's wedding, and that was amazing. I love tropical getaways. I love going to the beach, so that was really fun. A few years ago, we went to Costa Rica, which was my all-time favorite. We need to get back there. So we try to take like one like major big trip a year. Even I'm a calendar person. If I have something scheduled on my calendar, it's not for like another 6 months. Like I'm good. Like I just need something on my calendar. So we try to do that. And then my sister, mom, and I do like girls trips to South Dakota, which South Dakota is just so healing to me. So I get there and have, a weekend here and there, and little trips to Fargo with my family, with my boys and husband. So we definitely get out and go on the go quite a bit. Yeah. And we took my boys to a Vikings game this year in the cities. That was really fun.
Yeah, that's great. I actually have a friend that's coaching, or it's my brother's friend that coaches for the Vikings. So we've been following them a lot more now.
Fun. Yeah. I love that.
It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love football.
Weird world. I don't know. Like that kind of stuff is just
now we have Carson Wentz now too.
Yeah,
so you got to root for the
homeboys.
hometown guy,
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tell us what a typical day looks like for you. Like you've kind of started that a little bit, but you mentioned you start with meditation, and do you every day see 5 to 6 clients?
Mondays is a shorter day for me because my mom is our like babysitter for Mondays. So I just, and it's kind of almost like a personal reason too. I like going home earlier and seeing her and stuff. And so Mondays I typically see about 4 people. And then Tuesday through Thursday, I see usually 5. And then if people want to get in, I sometimes will just add people, to that. But I am trying to grow my business. One thing that like any therapy or counseling, you phase people out, and I love that you want to do that because it's a success to me when people don't need to come in monthly or weekly or whatever. But it seems like in the last, like, I don't know, since the beginning of this year, I phased a lot of people out. So I am looking to grow my business quite a bit, this fall. I used to book out 2-3 months, maybe like 6 to 8 weeks, I think it was. And now I even have some like openings next week too. So I'm like, it's definitely, I'm trying to grow a little more, which is exciting because it's nice to bring in new people, but I don't market. I hate marketing. I just don't know how to do that for myself. I really struggle with imposter syndrome. So like me going out there and saying, this is what I do and come in, like, it's just really hard for me. So I just leave it up to my guides. I pray. I have people, bring me people all the time, new people all the time. But so a typical day starts with, I get up, get the boys ready. I usually take my son to school because it's pretty close to the office. My other son goes to daycare, so my husband will take him. Get to work. I bring my coffee to work, and I just kind of sit here for 5 to 10 minutes and get reset and see just clients on top of every hour. And then I'm done around like 2 or 3 o'clock every day, which is awesome. I love that. And then I pick my boys up around 3:30 and I get to go home. So
do you work out? Do you cook?
Yes.
Like, are you someone that cooks dinner for your family?
Well, my husband actually, his trade, he went to school for culinary. He's a really good cook. So he likes to, like we help each other for supper, but it's really nice. He's a really good cook. So we'll kind of cook supper together, but yes, work out, try to get into, I do solid core, which is like a Pilates based strength training. I fell in love with solid core kind of when I was going through a rough time in my life, probably about 7 years ago. And I was feeling really lonely. I didn't really have a good community because I was getting out of like the party crowd because I didn't want that anymore. And I was still young, so I didn't really have a lot of friends that were trying to better themselves. So I found solid core, and I've been doing that. I say it pretty regularly, at least 3 days a week when the kids and I are healthy. I try to get to solid core often, but I this fall I kind of want to get into some strength training at the gym too. So we'll see. But yes, movement is really important. Whenever I feel myself kind of sliding into either like an anxiety, depression, or something like that, trying to get more movement really helps with that. So yeah.
I found so with my practice, it was like this too, like this, you'd get people, you have all these new people, and then you get them through, and then it's like this dip. And it took me a few years to realize that's just the cycle, like it's, and being able to not go out of whack in those low times, like that took experience. It just took
For
experience.
sure.
So that's cool that you've recognized that it's just, it is,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
the
And it gives
success
me
of your practice, really.
for sure. And I get a little scared sometimes. It's like, oh, I have like 3 openings next week. Like, I kind of want them to fill, bills have to get paid. But it's so funny because every time I have like a day that I either have like a couple cancellations that day or it's not filling, it's like, there's always a reason. It happened a couple weeks ago. I had 2 openings in the morning and then my 11 o'clock like canceled or something, like, what's going on? And come to find out, my babysitter couldn't take my son because she was sick. So I'm like, it worked out, so it is, you have to really, get out of your mind and not stress about things, because I think the universe and God always provides what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Always. What do you do for like holidays? Like, what do you do with your family? Because it sounds like your family is really important to you.
I love holidays. It's my favorite time. That's why I really like fall, because I know the holidays are all coming. We just stay home, get cozy, watch some movies. My oldest is really into Halloween. He loves like candy. He's such a social person, and so like we do like around the neighborhood, we take him trick-or-treating and stuff, but his favorite thing about Halloween is actually handing out the candy. So we get home, get him set up downstairs by the door, and he just hands out candy the whole time. It's really cute. So Halloween is always kind of fun, and we all got family costumes this year. We're all going to be the Incredibles.
Nice.
Fun.
So that's it. Yeah, it's kind of cute to do that. So that's Halloween, and usually I'm so blessed, and I get kind of choked up when I talk about this, but my in-laws and like my mom and my mom's side of the family, like we all get along so good. So like Thanksgiving we'll have at like our house here in Bismarck, and so my in-laws will come and my mom and her side of the family will come, and we all just really have a big party. And same thing for Christmas. We do a lot of things together. Actually they all came with us to the cities to take the boys to the Vikings game. So it's like my in-laws and my mom, and so it's just really fun to be able to do all those things together.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, I love 5-year plans. I don't know. I hope more. I'm really owning your own business. Obviously you don't have like the 401k from, company and things like that. So just a lot of financial goals starting like this year into the next few years. Really put a lot, in my 401k so I can retire at a decent age and things like that. But I don't know. We're talking about maybe having another kid. I don't know. We'll see. 3 seems like a lot because two's a lot, but it's so fun. I love my kiddos. And business wise, I really hope to still do what I'm doing now, but maybe more like bigger scale groups. That's kind of my 5-year goal with business, like just more group work on a bigger scale, like 20 to 30 people.
Yeah. Have you never tried that? Are you talking like a gallery type?
Yeah. Yep.
Like we see it, like we see on television, where
Yep.
you're kind of just reading the room and picking out somebody's telling me somebody's grandma's here from whatever.
Something like that. Yeah. A little different because I want to incorporate like a little bit of like the body work that I do. So I do body talk in some sessions, and that's just like allowing people's body to like reconnect, because our cortisol is always high and we're stressed out. So incorporating the spiritual side of things, but also like the chakras and body work too. So a little different, but like little readings for people like that. Yeah.
Well, your very first trial run will be there.
Yeah.
Like tell us.
fun.
We'll show up.
We'll show up. That's right. Have it in Costa Rica. That'd be great.
Oh my God. When I was there, that's all I could think about. I could like that everywhere I went in Costa Rica. I'm like, oh, perfect retreat place. So I would love that. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to share with people? How about how to book with you if that's something that interests them?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people, come try it out. I have my half-hour sessions, but they go so fast.
Yeah.
Half hours go so fast. So I do, especially for new clients, like to book the 45-minute, but I say 45 minutes online, but I always usually take the hour because I book on every top of the hour. So I usually take an hour. And people can either message me on my Facebook page, Healing with Jess. I get a lot of messages that way. Text me. My number is, on that Facebook page too. Text me. but I do have like a booking link that I send people. That way people can just see what they have on their calendar, what I have open, and kind of schedule that way. I don't mind scheduling people myself either though, but it gets a little trickier doing that because like, say I book someone and then I don't get the right like number or email, then they don't get the reminder and then I can't get a hold of them. So I've had that happen before. So usually I just send people the link and they can book that way. But yes, I'm welcoming all the new clients. And a lot of people, you know, they don't no expectations. I'm okay with anything. Like they can expect whatever they want or they can have no expectations. But a lot of people come in here with no expectations and they get so much from that because they don't zoom into like one thing that they think they need, and we can get a lot of healing done. So and this is weird for me to say because I'm not a boastful person, and like I said, I have imposter syndrome a lot, but I get a lot of people that tell me they got in one session what they got out of their whole life of therapy. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to hear as the practitioner, but just to get that out there and let people know, like I always say it's like therapy on steroids because it's just when we can dig into the spiritual piece and get connected within ourselves, it's so healing. And so I always tell people just come in and see what you feel about it, you know.
Well, how I describe it when people ask me, you know, what it's all about, I say it's therapy for my soul. So
I love that.
Very different than therapy for your mind.
Yeah.
You know? To me, two different things.
Yes.
Very different. And I would much rather put therapy into my soul. Personally, I would. So
for sure. Yeah, I love that.
It's done wonderful things for me.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you.
Yes, I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate your gift.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, I remember a friend mentioning that you do online, like it doesn't have to be in person. Is that
correct?
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I
Can you
do.
explain that
So
a
I
little
do go.
bit for our guests.
Yep, I do one-on-one sessions in this office here, so people come to me, and I'm located in the Security First Bank building. It's just like right north of Space Aliens on State Street there, and I'm on the 3rd floor, so it's really easy to get to. So I do my in-person sessions, and then I do video sessions. So just like we're doing this right now, that's what I do for people who are, I have some people from Minnesota, some people from South Dakota. So definitely video, and it works the same for me. I get the same vision, same connection, same everything through video. I always tell people that's the one good thing that came out of COVID was knowing that this can be distant work too. And then I did add a third service to my list, and I used to just do this like on a special, but a lot of people love these. I call them a distance session with notes. So you don't have to be present with me at all. You can go book the distance session with notes. And then that day I will sit down and do your session. And then like take notes and send clients the notes that way. And a lot of people really like that because then they can revert to the notes often if they need them. And I give people like the opportunity for those sessions to give me like focus points. So I get a lot of like, oh, I just lost my grandpa. What sign is he sending me? Or, I'm not really happy at work. So what can I do to be more fulfilled with that? So I really kind of can focus in on certain points. So those are my 3 options, either in person here, video distance like this, or like a distance session with notes that you don't have to be present for.
I would just like to quickly say that I've seen Jess in person multiple times, but we've transitioned now to like a Zoom, like a FaceTime type thing. And the sessions to me have been exactly the same. So
yeah. Okay. Good.
I think I've referred people that way, that don't live in Bismarck, and they're like, how does that work? I'm like, it's her gift, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand
I just know it works.
Energy isn't trapped into space, it's all around us. So it's just as easy for me to read people distantly too.
Very cool. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Yeah. Book with Jess.
Yes. Thank you guys. This is really fun.
It's
a good way for me to not have to get the fear. I have such a fear block with like putting myself out there and marketing and things like that. So when you guys asked me to do this, I was like, absolutely. I think that would be really beautiful to just talk a little bit about what I got going on and stuff. So I really enjoyed it.
Well, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it a lot. Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you guys too. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.